conflict with a stranger who caused violence and civil disobedience. The police says, this was the declaration of the police saying, in the name of our new republic, you are arrested for us. This was the stranger being ordered by the police officers. But we have another type of conflict, we call it the intrapersonal conflict, or sometimes we call it the conflict within an individual. The conflict that someone can have individually. For example, even you, who you are watching me right now, you have your own individual conflict. Maybe you don't like something, but you cannot expose it to others to know that you hate or you don't like something. So it will just keep eating you inside. It will just keep on hurting you. You can have that pinch alone, and you don't want to share with others. And there was intrapersonal conflict within the play this time tomorrow, the conflict within an individual. And when we find this, Wanjiro complains why she does not go to school, while her brother does. We have this problem in Africa, that girls are not given priority. If a family have 2 children, that is a boy and a girl, the one will be given priority. But I'm talking about the side of those who are in the camp of conservatism, the old generation, that a girl is not supposed to go to school. Only a boy can go to school. And that's what happened to Wanjiro. Wanjiro remained at home because she was a girl, while her brother was sent to school. So the message that we can get here is that all children are equal, whether a boy or a girl. All of them have to be given opportunity to go to school. All of them have the equal opportunity to get education. So Wanjiro complains why she does not go to school, while her brother does. So that is intra, it's within, it's the conflict within herself. She keeps on thinking about it. Why me? Why not that one? Why me? So that is intra-conflict. Wanjiro hates the poor life in the slums, where she goes without good clothes, unlike other girls in the city. You know, Wanjiro was very interested to look like a white woman. She wanted to look like, you know, nowadays we have the saying known as sharobaro. I think, I don't know whether, how can we call it, a smart girl, smart boy, you know, sharobaro. She wanted to look, I don't know whether a woman or a girl can be sharobaro, but we talk of a smart girl. She wanted to look like a modern girl. Now, she had no money to buy the clothes that would make her to look a smart girl. She was very poor. Her mother was very poor. She had no money to buy such kind of garments. She wanted to walk with a handbag hanging on her shoulder. She wanted to have the high-heeled shoes, but they're very expensive. They need money, and she had no money. So that is something that made her to, you know, most of the time to be thinking about it. That had it been that my mother was rich, then I could, had it been that so and so. So she kept on thinking about it. And actually, that made her to have the conflict within herself. But also, Wanjiro says, I want to get out of here. She didn't want to stay in the slums, but there was no way out. She had just to live there because her mother had her shelter right there. That was her home. She could not find another home different from that one. But actually, it's like she could not even go with her friend and show, this is my house, this is where I live. You know, she had that intra-personal conflict, or the conflict within herself. She didn't like the shelter. She didn't like the people over there. She didn't like the ways of life in the slums. She was totally against, but she had no way out. She had no way out. She had just bear the situation. So she says, I want to get out of here, out of these slums. Look, I have no clothes like other girls. I'm now a woman, yet no man glances in my direction. But if you go further, you can find there's no man who glances in my direction, but only Asinjo. Only Asinjo is the one who dared to say, I'm beautiful, though I was in rags, but he said, I'm beautiful. So he's the only one who could add a word of encouragement, to encourage me that I'm beautiful. And actually, it's obvious that Wanjiro was beautiful, but the situation really didn't allow her to dress like the white ladies because of poverty. The other theme is colonial legacy. The other theme is colonial legacy. When we talk about colonial legacy, we talk of how during the colonial rule, there are some things which were done by the white people, which were hate. It's like the Africans were not happy with such things to be done in their own country, in their motherland, like the issue of the land to be taken. We talk about the issue of oppression. We talk about the issue of being humiliated. We talk of the issue of being, sometimes suppressed when they do demonstration. Such things, which were like the characteristics of the colonial state, existed during colonial rule. But it's very unfortunate that even after achievement of independence, the same situation happened. People remained to be landless. People had no jobs. People had no good shelter. They lived in slums. Just the same as how it used to be during the colonial rule. So it means the fight for independence was almost useless. It was useless for them, according to them. So there are colonial elements prevailing in most of the African countries even today. We have some of the colonial elements remaining in our community. For example, I think you have ever heard people saying, I am Mzungu Mweusi. Someone talking of, I am Mzungu Mweusi. Someone acts like a white man. I have a black skin, but indeed, in my ways of life, I'm a white man. I'm a white man. So we still have the elements of colonialism. We talk of the land. We still have people who are owning big portions of land, while the others are suffering. We still have such kind of elements which really characterize the colonial state. We still have such legacies. So people do not see changes even after getting uhuru or independence. They still remain landless. There's no land for them. They still remain jobless. There is oppression. People are being oppressed. As how people at Uhuru Market were oppressed by the city council. They were oppressed. Their shelters had to be demolished. They were not even shown a place where they could go and build. So what is the difference between the colonial government, which humiliated them, which oppressed them, and the existing government, which was seized by their fellow black Africans? No difference there. We talk of the humiliation, dehumanization. They existed during the colonial government, but they still exist even today. They still exist. Just the same as how it used to be during colonial rule or during colonial era. So most of the independent African states still have the characteristics of colonialism. We still have such kind of things which happened or which were practiced by the colonial government during colonial rule. They still exist. And that makes no difference between the colonial government on one side and the new government, which is under the hands of our fellow Africans. And the message that we can get from here is that the African countries have to ensure that the fruits of independence, the cake of the nation, is shared among all people, not only the minority. The majority should enjoy the fruits of independence. People should not be exploited. People should not be humiliated. People should not be oppressed. Because if you oppress people, you humiliate people, then it's just the same like the colonial government. No independence achieved. There is a certain book written by one of the Kenyan leader, Jomo Kenyatta. I think it's about not yet uhuru. Not yet uhuru. What does it mean, not yet uhuru? There is independence, but we still have some elements of colonialism. And that's why when you pass through that book, you can get a lot of information about why not yet uhuru. Why not yet uhuru? Not yet uhuru because the land still remains in the hands of the minority. Not yet uhuru because people are still oppressed. Not yet uhuru because people are still humiliated. There's no freedom. There's no freedom. No land, no jobs. People are jobless. So not yet uhuru. So the minority are the ones who normally enjoy the national cake, since they drive in Porsche, we have the characteristic of most of the African leaders. They would like to drive in expensive cars. They don't want these, the cars which are not modern cars. They would like to drive in modern cars. Like when you talk about the Porsche car, very expensive car. Yeah? We have the expensive Mercedes-Benz. And we have the long American cars. You can find some of the leaders in Africa driving this kind of cars, showing that there's no difference with the colonial masters. The colonial masters used to drive such kind of cars. And yet we have the current African leaders still embracing the same practices, that they want to live in luxury life, living in bungalows, leaving others suffering, the people like Wanjiru and others suffering. They have no food, they have no shelter. So this is a problem. This is a problem. So the minority are the ones who enjoy the national cake, since they drive in Porsche, expensive Mercedes-Benz and long American cars, but they also live in bungalows. Living in bungalows is not a problem. The problem that you are referring here is that even the downtrodden people, those who suffered for independence, those who went in the forest to fight for uhuru, they need to share something from what they fought for. They need to have at least, not necessarily to be a bungalow, but they can live in shelter, in a little bit, a reasonable shelter for a human being to live. But not the rotten things, not the cardboards. Gather together and then build a house, and you call it a house. Freedom fighters, they fought for who? Why shouldn't they be considered, at least to be given a place where they can build, or the government can assist them to build? So that is something that actually showed that the colonial legacies still exist, not only in Kenya. I'm talking of Africa as well. It's not only Kenya. Kenya is just a sample because the book setting is in Kenya. So the minority are the ones who enjoy the national cake, since they drive in Porsche, as how I explained before, expensive cars and long American cars. The long American cars, my dear students, I think you know them, 6 doors. Very expensive cars. So most of the African leaders like to drive in such expensive cars. The dressing style of the white people is widely practiced by Africans. For example, the high-heeled shoes. We have Africans who wear the high-heeled shoes. Even you, my dear student, I think you have ever worn such kind of shoes, high-heeled shoes. You talk of the short dresses. Who is not dressed in short dresses? I hope almost all of you have ever had such practice of wearing short dresses, which is actually, that is one of the, the Western dressing style, Holding handbags, smoking for ladies. In African traditions, it's not very normal to find a woman smoking. But nowadays, we have so many people smoking. Women as well, they do smoke. It's just common. It used to be during colonial rule. But today, we have such kind of elements. People can smoke. They can do a lot of things. And it's even ridiculous that some of the Africans have gone very far. That sometimes when they want to look like white women, they normally use cosmetics to change the color of their skin. They want to look like white women. And they go further. They have the so-called wigging. Someone putting on the wig and sometimes even kicking the head like this and doing like this. Well, that is actually, it's like torture and suffering. Why should you torture yourself doing like this and this? While you have your short hair, you have your curly hair. You don't need to push your hair like this. Okay, that is just a challenge I'm giving you. So the dressing style of white people is widely practiced by Africans. The high-heel shoes, the top of the short dresses, the holding handbags, etc., etc. So these are the elements which existed. Actually, it was during colonial rule, but they still exist in among the Africans or in African countries. Africans always want to dress like white people. Wanjiru wants to dress like white women. She wants to smoke cigarettes and put on the high-heeled shoes and walk like a white woman. And so we have, having gone through those things then, let's now have a look to this assignment. Goes like the question, we have 2 questions here that we can digest what we have so far discussed among the themes that we have passed through. The first question: freedom fighters in Africa, in African countries, fought for independence with illusions of sharing the national cake with their fellow Africans in power. Unfortunately, the national cake was enjoyed by those who seized power in the government, leaving the majority living miserable life. Discuss using any two readings you have read. Which reading can you use, my dear student? I'm sure the way I have elaborated, the way I have illustrated, the way I have explained it in broad, you can stand in a position to do this question. I think one of the readings that you can use is This Time Tomorrow. It can answer this question. You can have a lot of points that you can use to answer the question. The second question: discuss the relevance of the play This Time Tomorrow to your society. Discuss the relevance of the play This Time Tomorrow to your society. Is there any relevance between the play This Time Tomorrow with what is happening in your society? My dear students, can you take time to think about this? Is there any relevance between what is happening in the play This Time Tomorrow and what is happening in your society? Let me ask you a few questions. For example, do we have the practice of demolishing the slums in Tanzania, for example? Good. I think we have. Some of the slums are being demolished, and you can see them. You always see the slums or the shack houses being demolished. We cannot really oppose the government programs, but I think if the practice is conducted without caring people, without showing people where they can go and build, without showing people the alternative way, that after demolishing the slums, then where are they going to be? As how it was done in Kenya, that is against law. It's against law. That is humiliation and oppression. So you can cite so many examples from the play. You talk of the issue of tribalism. I talked about Kenya. I said in Kenya, the issue of tribalism is rampant. It's rampant in the sense that it exists even today. And for the case of Tanzania, we still have some of the regions in Tanzania who practice tribalism. The elements of tribalism do exist. Mwalimu Nyerere once said, tribalism should be stopped. We have to act as one nation. But is it true that we don't have elements of tribalism in Tanzania? That is appalling. You can think about it. We can have another relevance. Don't we have some of the police officers who oppress people? Don't we have some of the police officers who oppress people? Sometimes you can find someone without you know, that there's no need of oppressing someone, but the police officers can use their power to oppress people because they're in position. Don't we have such kind of people? Don't we have people who believe that everything from West, you know, Western culture is better than African culture? Don't we have such kind of people in our society? We have. It's obvious that we can have. Don't we have some people who fought during the struggle for independence in Tanganyika by then? But after achievement of independence, maybe, I'm not very sure, they can be suffering. They just remain with the story. We fought for who? We fought for who? But they are still suffering. They are not given their rights. Maybe the government is not taking care of them. This is just the message. Just the message. I'm not making a challenge to the government, but I'm just trying to show the challenge that we can learn as a nation, that there are some relevance which can be found in the book This Time Tomorrow. There are some relevance. So it's obvious that we can have the Wanjiros who are being prohibited by their parents to get married to boys from other tribes. That right? I hope. If it has not happened to you, probably to your neighbor or to someone you know. It's obvious. So I'm sure that these questions are very easy, like drinking water, very easy. And you can just quench them, you can just attempt them and actually come with a very good response with these two questions. Now, having gone through the themes, we have to check the characters in our play and their characterization. That's very important. We have to pass through it. There you are. Characters in the play. We have the characters in the play. The first character, we have Njango, a soup seller to Huru Market. We have Wanjiro, Njango's daughter. Another character is Asinjo, Wanjiro's boyfriend from a different tribe. I think now you are getting the story about this time tomorrow. Inspector Kiongo, who is from the city council. We have the police officer. We have the stranger, among those who fought for Huru, stranger, shoemaker, a tinith miss, and we have the journalist. Journalist, the one who took all the events which happened during the demonstration, recorded everything. We have the first customer, the second customer, the third customer, and we have the cloud. So those are the characters. Those are the characters. Now when we talk about characterization, it means we are now going to pick one character after another and try to explain the attributes or the way he or she was shown in the play. What role did she or he play in the play? So we talk of characterization, attributes, so the characteristics of the respective character. We start with the character known as Njango. Njango, this is the main character of the play. She's the main character of the play. When we talk about the main character, I hope my dear students understand what it means. The main character is the one who can be seen from the beginning up to the end. That is, from the very beginning of the story, we have our character going at the middle of the story up to the end. So she's the main character of the play. She's the widow and the mother of Wanjiro. I said it before that Wanjiro was a widow because her husband passed away during the struggle for independence. She was really killed by the colonial masters during the struggle for independence. So he was captured. He was captured and apprehended, and was among those who were sent to Manyani concentration camp. I explained it in the previous lesson when I talked about Manyani. I'm not very sure if it's very related to Manyani, like an insult to Africans, but I'm not very sure. But Manyani concentration camp was a camp whereby there was suffering. If someone was sent there, he had to sweat beads of blood. You could swim in hot soup. It was a suffering camp. You know, it's like a place where someone is going to be tortured so that you can stop doing what you're doing. So she is a widow. She is a widow and the mother of Wanjiro. When her husband passes away in the struggle during Mamau War, she came to town and she engaged in a pet trade of selling soup at Uhuru Market. So she was a soup seller, and her soup was always very cheap. She used to announce, soup cheap for only 10 cents, you know. And therefore all the downtrodden people, the Walalahoi, had to go there to have the soup which was very cheap for only 20 cents. She believes in tribalism. She is conservative. She believes that a lady or a daughter that you really love cannot get married to a man from a different tribe. That is what she believes. She is poor and shared the floor with her daughter as a baby. Very poor. Even the shelter portrays, indicates, reflects her poverty that they used to share. You know, they just used to sleep on the carrots, like the boxes, you know, down there. And the shelter can even be pushed by the cock. When the cock jumps on top of it, it can fall down. It's really very pity. It's funny, ridiculous, but it's really, that is the reality. We still have some people who are living in such kind of shelter, even in our country, God forbid. So she's poor and shares the floor with her daughter, Isabel. She was the victim of Keep the City Clean. She is among those who were supposed to move. She is among those who were told that you have to demolish, you have to break down your house by using your own hands. But she was reluctant up to the end when the bulldozer came and destroyed the shelter. She was the victim of the Keep the City Clean, as I pointed out here. We have another character, Wanjiro. Wanjiro is the daughter of Njami. She has natural beauty, but lived in poor life. She was very beautiful, attractive, but she had no money to buy attractive, expensive clothes that could make her look even more attractive. She had no money because they were poor. Her mother was very poor. So she has natural beauty but lives in poor life. She is ignorant. I said it before, as she did not go to school. She was not sent to school because they had no, it's not that they had no money, because her brother was sent to school. So she was not supposed to be sent to school. But because of the attitude of conservatism, because her mother was conservative, she was among those who believed that a woman, you cannot educate a woman. A woman is only for cooking. A woman is only a factory for production of offsprings. So she didn't find a reason why Wanjiro should be sent to school. The message that we can get here is that if there are parents who have such kind of habit, they should stop that, please. All children are equal, whether a girl or a boy. All of them have to be sent to get education. She admires how European ladies dress. She wants to look like a white woman. She admires the way the white people dress. She has that eager. She wants to look like a white woman. I think she had even, I'm just trying to make a challenge, maybe she thought even of using cosmetics, like changing the color of the skin, And I think she had even a dream of going to live in Europe. You never know. I'm just making a challenge. So she admires how the European ladies dress. She wants to look like a white woman. She wants to dress like a white woman, like a white lady, walking like a white woman, smoking, and so on and so forth. We have another character, a stranger. Stranger was among the freedom fighters who fought for Uhuru in Kenya. She was among those who organized people to react or to demonstrate against the city council. So he's an activist who fought for Uhuru during the Mau Mau war. But he's still living in miserable life. He has no work. He's just roaming in town. They were promised that after achievement of independence, everyone is going to be employed. Everyone is going to get land. Everyone is going to live in bungalows or in decent house, in decent shelter. But that was not the case. It was upside down. He educates people on their rights and makes them aware of humiliation and exploitation. That's why he told them that my fellow Kenyans, my fellow people at Uhuru Market, don't run away. We are demanding our own right. So you should not be afraid. Don't run away. But people ran away. They were disunited. He wanted to make solidarity. He wanted the people to be in unity. But they betrayed him. They ran away. So he educates people on their rights. They have the right to demand from the city council that the city council should not demolish their houses. The city council or the police officers should not humiliate or oppress them, because they have the right to speak. Freedom of expression. Freedom of expressing their views and opinions. And therefore, he makes them to be aware of humiliation and exploitation which is done by the existing government. Not the colonial government, the government which is under the Africans. He unites people against the city council with its campaign of keep the city clean. He says, why should we get eliminated from our homes, from our shelters, because of the tourists from Europe? This is our land. This is our country. How comes that we have to value more the white people and not value our people? Can the tourists leave destruction of the houses of people because the tourists are coming to the city? No, I think this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. So he unites people against the city council with his campaign of keep the city clean. We have another character, the shoemaker, one of the slum dweller. He was among the slum dweller. He is illiterate and does not know his age. As I said before, when he was asked about his age, he could not tell. He could not tell. We have such kind of people in our society who are not educated. Once you tell them about when were you born, they will tell you, you know, I was born during the time when there was the locust swarm, kati wa nzige, you know, they talk about nzige, locust swarm. So, or I was born during that hunger, I don't know what kind of hunger, because we have so many hungers which happened, maybe 1974, 1984. So we still have such people who are not educated. They can tell when they were born relating these events. It might be a traditional way of telling, but I think this indicates, indicates that a person is not literate, is illiterate. So he is illiterate and does not know his age. When asked about by the journalist, what is your age? He says, my age. Let me count. Oh, started counting the fingers. One, oh, I was born many years ago. So indicating that he could not tell the year when he was born. He protested against the government decision to demolish the slums or the houses. He was against this practice of demolishing the slums. He was not ready, and he was among the demonstrators. That is the shoemaker. We have these characters, the second customer, the first, the second, and the third customer. They are among the slum dwellers. They buy soup at Njago's place. These are the customers at Njago's place. They just used to come there and always used to tell Njago, oh, our mother, give us our daily bread. And that was the only place where they could go and get soup, because soup was very cheap, you see. So they opposed strongly the city campaign of Keep the City Clean. They were against that campaign. They didn't support it. They were really totally against the Keep the City Clean campaign. It's not that maybe they didn't want the city to be clean. No. It's not that they opposed the city council, that they should clean the city so that if the tourists come, they'll get attracted with the city. No. What they opposed is, why should you demolish our slums? And if you demolish our slums, you have to show us another place where you can go and build. That was their concern. They didn't want to oppose. They were ready. But they just wanted the government or the city council to show them the place where they could go and build. Therefore, they opposed strongly the city campaign of Keep the City Clean. Another character is Inspector Kiongo. Inspector Kiongo is a worker at the city council in the health department. He reminds people at Uhuru Market to move away since the slums are to be demolished. He's among those who enjoy the national cake. At the beginning, Inspector Kiongo used to go whimpering his hunger to Asinjo, not to Asinjo, sorry, to Django and Wanjiro, asking for soup. Please, can you give me soup? Before he was employed to the city council. He was down to earth. But immediately when he was in position, he started despising his fellow Africans. He started, humiliating them, oppressing them. It's a relevance in our community. We can have some people who can be down to earth when they are not in positions. But once they're in positions, they start humiliating their fellow Africans. He's among those who enjoy the national cake. We have another character known as Asinjo. He is a young man from a different tribe with Asinjo. He's a young man from a different tribe with, should read Wanjiro. He's a young man from a different tribe with Wanjiro. He is chased away and insulted by Njago as he wants to marry Wanjiro. As I said before, Wanjiro was totally against Njago was totally against the relationship between her daughter and Asinjo. She was not ready, her daughter, to get married to Asinjo because Asinjo was from a different tribe. He convinces Wanjiro to go with him and ignores her mother for claim that she is ignorant and old, that she doesn't know the ways of the modern girl. She doesn't know how she wanted to look like. But I don't think if such words are to be said by Wanjiro to her mother, sometimes we have to go back. We have to respect our parents. You don't have to speak such words to your parent because those are your second God. We have another character known as the Tintimis. He's a slum dweller who lives a poor life also. He's ignorant. He cooked for the white people during the war. And his work, he makes and sells water tins, the pangas, and the hoes. And we have another character known as a journalist. He's the one who reported everything going on during the demonstration. During the demonstration, there was a newspaper reporter who reported every scene going on. Everything going on during the demonstration was reported by the journalist. And actually, that had been the front page, demonstration at Uhuru Market, and so on and so forth. So he's a reporter of different events in the society. For example, he reports on the Keep the City Clean campaign, and he reports how the houses were going to be demolished, and how the people reacted against it, because he interrogated some of those who were demonstrating, like the tinsmiths and the shoemaker. They were interrogated. He takes pictures of different people, like the tinsmiths and the Inspector KIHIMBO, in order that people can read in the newspaper when the news is out. We have the police officer. He's among the civil servants. He represents the government to make sure that the Keep the City Clean campaign is a success. It's an order. Whether you like or not, the house is going to be demolished. This is the order from the government. So the implementers of orders from the government are the coercive organs. Coercive organs. My dear students, I think you have read this in civics, coercive organs. We have the police, the court, and others. But for this case here, we are referring to the police officer. He represents the government to make sure that the Keep the City campaign is going to be a success practice. My dear students, that marks the end of our lesson for today. I think you have enjoyed the lesson, and I think now you have a wide scope of what this time tomorrow is. I hope you understand what does it mean when you talk about this time tomorrow, and we have passed through the themes and characterization which I have already explained in the proceedings of the lesson. I'm sure now you can be in a position to answer questions concerning the play, this time tomorrow, and other plays that are going to be taught by other teachers. And therefore, let me say, just reminding you that let's keep on protecting ourselves against coronavirus. Let us keep on protecting ourselves from COVID-19, wash our hands, wear the mask, and stay at home. Bye.